and her last wish is to be with my husband again, and he is seriously considering it. First of all, I apologize if this is badly written. English is not my first language, so please be kind. As the title goes, my 30F husband's ex-girlfriend, 33F, was recently diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer, and her last wish is to be with my husband. My husband, let's call him Seb, and his ex Tanya became best friends after their breakup a couple of years ago due to her infidelity. They were together for 5 years. Needless to say, they remain in contact even before he met me. I would be lying if I say it never made me feel uncomfortable even once. It did, and it still does, because Tanya is still in love with my husband. She never denied it, and in fact would even call or message me when she can't get a hold of Seb. Aside from cancer, she also has some mental health issues. Thus, my husband would always tell me to be kind and patient. Seb is no longer in love with her, of course. She cheated, and Seb swore that he will never get back to her and that he only see her as family. 2 weeks ago, my husband received a call from Tanya to tell him about the sad news. My husband cried with her and told her everything is going to be okay. They were on the phone the whole day. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that Seb and I moved to Australia a few months ago because of my job, and Tanya is in Canada. They mostly talk via long-distance call or WhatsApp. They've been in contact almost every day since we left, which always bothers me, but what can I do? After that call, my husband told me everything. To be honest, I felt bad for her, and I genuinely feel sad. I asked him what's going to happen now. Seb told me he's going back to Canada, which is a shock. He then told me that her last wish is to be with him. I didn't say anything except, "What about me?" He said if I can't leave my job, then he's going to visit me whenever he gets the chance. I walked out without saying anything. I've been avoiding my husband since the phone call and have been ignoring him whenever he tries to bring up the conversation. Yesterday, I found out he already bought a ticket and is flying back home in January. I feel like he's abandoning me, but at the same time, I feel that I'm selfish for hating both of them. I'm honestly thinking of getting a divorce because obviously he's choosing her over me, but at the same time, I thought of why my husband is so attached to her. Seb considered Tanya and her family like his own as he doesn't have one. She's probably like a sister to him now. But Tanya doesn't feel the same. She's madly in love, my husband, and him granting her wish will surely make her think they still have a chance. My entire life I've been putting others first. I've been very patient and understanding about their weird relationship. I feel sick, confused. I want to call her, yell at her for ruining my marriage, for trying to steal my husband from me, for using her sickness to get what she wants, for being a bitch. I'm so mad at both of them. What did I do to deserve this? Update. 1 year later. Update. My husband's ex is dying. Her last wish is to be with my husband. First of all, I apologize for those people who's been messaging me in the past year asking for an update. I was a mess after what happened and couldn't talk about it even to my family. I was reminded of this post because someone messaged me on this Reddit account today. It's been over a year and a lot has happened. I think I'm now ready to talk. Seb did end up flying back to Canada January last year. Before he flew, we talked about the situation, and I told him I've been in contact with a divorce lawyer. He was surprised. He said he didn't expect me to leave him just because he needs to be with his family. I remember at the time all I felt was anger. I was so mad that he's making it sound like I'm the bad person. Nevertheless, the conversation didn't end well. He left without any closure, but he said he will be back in March. I was left alone. January to March last year was the darkest days of my life. I knew I did nothing wrong, but I ended up blaming myself for everything. I hate to admit, but I canceled the meeting with my lawyer as I started to doubt if I really want to leave him or not. I love him so much to the point that I'm willing to accept him again when he's back. During the entire time he was gone, he rarely called to check on me. I had to call him most of the time. I know, I'm dumb. I feel so alone and sad. I begged for his attention, to give me some of his time, to be with me again. All those time he kept telling me that Tanya needs him more. March. I was expecting him to come back so we can talk, but he didn't come back. He said he needs to stay more and promised me he will be back in May. I don't know what happened to me when I got that call from him early March to tell me he won't be flying back to Australia. At the time, I felt like there's a switch that suddenly turned off because, somehow, I stopped caring. When he told me he won't be back until May, I knew I have to move forward without him. Fast forward to May, he was back. That day, we sat down to talk. He broke down and said, "I can't lose you too." When he said that, I thought Tanya was gone. But no, she's not, and as far as I know, she's still alive to this day. I asked what happened, and he told me that Tanya asked him to go back and be with me. He said that Tanya is sorry for everything. Seb didn't want to leave her, especially when he saw how bad she was doing. They had a fight, and according to him, Tanya wants him out of her life. If I was the same dumb person, I would totally accept him back, but at that time, all I can think was, he's only back because Tanya doesn't want him anymore. I let him cry. I comforted him and let him stay in my apartment. A week after, I told him I'm divorcing him. At first, he refused to leave. It was a long and painful process, but on my birthday in July, he finally realized that he couldn't manipulate me anymore. By August, he was back in Canada. Divorce is not finalized yet, but we have been separated since he left. He tried to contact me several times last year. Tanya also tried to contact me. Everyone, including my family, tried to convince me to give him second chance. But that day in March, when I finally came back to my senses, I knew nothing can make me change my mind. As of now, I'm doing fine alone by myself. I got promoted last year and moved to a bigger apartment near the beach. I found new friends and recently getting into Pilates. I've traveled Australia and New Zealand and met some amazing people. I feel like a completely different person. Last year was the major turning point of my life. Seb still bothers me from time to time, but he knows I couldn't care less anymore. Sometimes I talk to him. I still care, but not as much. I've been told by our common friends that he's not doing well. He became alcoholic and couldn't get a good job because of it. He's mostly couch surfing because Tanya doesn't want him to live with her. Lol, that bitch. Thank you so much, Reddit, for taking the time reading this and my post last year. Your advices means a lot to me. For those people who are in the same situation as me, please know that everything is going to be better. I thought I can't get through this. There are times I thought of taking my own life. It was hard, but I promise you, it will be better. You'd be surprised how strong you are and how amazing life can be.
Story 2. Am I wrong for going on a date night with my wife's friend? I went out for dinner with one of my wife's friends last week when my wife was out of town. I wanted some honest opinions on if I did something wrong here and how big of trouble I am in. So, to give full context, my wife was away for a week visiting her parents. She has a friend, Amanda, who she has been friends with for many years. Amanda has had a rough patch where she broke up with her boyfriend and also lost her job. My wife has been supportive of her. Last week, Amanda had an interview and asked my wife if she could give her a ride home from the airport. As my wife was out of town, and my office is near the airport, my wife asked me if I can give her a ride on my way back from work. I did not have any plans and agreed. Amanda and I are not really friends, and I only interact with her when we meet socially. I told Amanda to message me when her flight gets to the airport and I can pick her up. I picked her up around 6 p.m. and we were driving home. We were just having small talk about the new company she was interviewing at and her work in general. Amanda told me she does not have any food at home and if we can stop by at a drive-thru so that she can pick up some food. I was also hungry, and I suggested we can stop by somewhere and have quick dinner before I drop her home. She agreed and started searching for places on the way. She punched in an address to a restaurant on the way, and we drove to that place. We did not know this, but this place was pretty fancy. Italian restaurant. She said, "This looks too fancy," and I said, "We are already here, so let's eat." I messaged my wife, "We are getting dinner," and she said, "Okay." We had a pretty fun evening and a nice dinner. She had a few drinks, and I did not since I was driving. We generally never talk much, but she opened up to me and we had a very nice chat. I never knew Amanda, and I had so much in common and liked the same music and movies. I did not notice, but we were at the restaurant for 1.5 hours. Amanda was taking pictures during dinner and also asked the server to take our picture at the end of the meal. I dropped Amanda home. She gave me a quick hug and said thanks for such a nice evening. I called my wife, told her I dropped Amanda and am heading home. She seemed busy, and I just let her know I reached home and said goodnight. This is where things got a bit weird. Amanda messaged me around 11 p.m. saying thanks for the ride, and she had a good time. She sent me our picture together. I saw the message and just liked it to acknowledge it. Later that night, Amanda shared some of the photos from our dinner on her Instagram, including our photo together, and captioned it as dinner with friend. I am not friends with Amanda on Instagram and did not see it. Next morning, my wife called me and asked me how my date night with Amanda was. I laughed it off and thought she was teasing me. But my wife sounded pissed off and kept on asking me about all the details, like when I got home, which I was happy to provide. That night, my wife called me again and told me that Amanda told her about the night before. The issue was Amanda made the dinner sound way nicer than what it was. She kept on praising me for how I was a gentleman and treated me better than most of her dates, how I am a good listener, paid for the whole thing, etc. I feel Amanda also added fuel to the fire by telling my wife all the wonderful things I did for her during the evening. My wife feels I should have asked her before inviting Amanda to such a fancy place for a romantic dinner. She was also pissed that hundreds of people liked Amanda's post on Instagram, and she feels disrespected that her husband is going out on date night with her single friend when she was out of town. She also jokingly asked me how our goodnight kiss was, and I told her it was just a hug. That seemed to make her angrier. I have not even told her about the late-night message from Amanda and me liking the picture with a heart emoji because I am too scared at this point. I wanted to ask if I was wrong to invite Amanda for dinner when both of us were starving and it was dinner time. Do you think my wife is wrong and overreacting to all of this? I was just being nice to her friend, who she asked me to drive home. I also communicated with my wife all through the night, and she seemed okay with it at the time. She only got offended after she saw Amanda's Insta post. Should I call Amanda and tell her to talk to my wife and explain it was just a friendly meal and I was not being inappropriate? Update. She came home yesterday evening and I went to pick her up at the airport. I went on my charm offensive and got some flowers and chocolates on my way. While my wife was happy to see me after 2 weeks, I could see she was a bit annoyed by me. I asked her if she wants to stop by for dinner at a restaurant and she gave me a look and told me to keep driving and we will order takeout. She also asked me to cut the bullshit and be normal. After we reached home, we settled in and I got the dinner ready. I decided to be direct and asked her why the incident is really bothering her. I told her that I know she is not an insecure person, and she also knows I would never put myself in an inappropriate position. While I understood why she would be annoyed by the situation, I would not expect her to doubt me. She was the one who trusted me to pick up her friend in the evening from airport. As it was dinner time and her friend said she was hungry, it would have been rude of me to not offer to get food for her. Also, my wife knows that I always offer to pay for dinners, irrespective if it is my friend's or hers. It is just the way I was brought up, and we have fights during family gatherings on who gets to pay. I asked her what was the thing that was exactly bothering her and why she was okay during the night when I kept her updated about everything, but got upset in the morning. My wife told me that the whole situation smelled funky to her. She told me that she does not doubt me one bit that I had any wrong intentions. However, the optics of it all was really bad for her. She said that she is not upset at me getting dinner for her friend. She would expect me to do that, and Amanda also appreciates it. She said that the issue started early morning when her mom barged into her room to show her Amanda's post. Her mom thought I was going out with Amanda behind my wife's back. My wife told her that she knew I took her out for dinner and told her about what happened. She then got a lecture from her mom about how naive she was, and this is how affairs start. My wife said that it annoyed her a lot. Her mom also looked up the restaurant and told my wife that it was a very pricey place and was voted best place for romantic dates by some magazine. She said her mom completely freaked out after seeing my picture with Amanda. So, my wife looked up our credit card statement and realized I had spent a lot on the meal. She also said that Amanda has a huge social media following on Instagram and posts a lot. I think she is like a fitness influencer or something, but I don't really follow her. Even though most of the pictures in her post were of food, the last photo of me and her looked like a boyfriend reveal as we were sitting next to each other. She told me I won't understand as I am not on Instagram, but this is how people announce they are dating someone nowadays. As the day went on, Amanda got more than 1K likes on the post, while a lot of people commenting and saying we looked nice. She was annoyed Amanda did not correct any of them, so she called Amanda in the evening to ask her to take the last picture down. However, Amanda kept on praising me and how I was charming and fun. Amanda told her that for all these years, she felt I was snobbish and pretentious. I am a huge introvert, so I come off that way. But she was wrong. My wife said this was annoying because she has never seen me be charming with any of her friends before when she is around. Amanda was talking about all my favorite bands and how we should all go to see a concert sometimes. Amanda told her she posted our photo because she has never been treated to such a nice place before and wanted to acknowledge me in the post. My wife never asked her to take down the picture because of that. She then had a lot of questions for me as to when I dropped her off, why I walked her to the apartment building door, and when I got home. I told her I can show you exact times and receipts for everything. But do we really want to be that couple who questions each other about every little detail? She can check when we got the credit card charge, the messages I sent her after dropping Amanda and our Ring camera in garage, and come to her own conclusions. She asked me if she thought Amanda was flirting with me during the night, and I told her that was not the case. In fact, Amanda messaged me our photo at night, and I just sent an emoji instead of engaging in a conversation, mostly because I was busy with my video game. That chapter was closed for us, and neither Amanda nor I messaged each other after that. Amanda is my wife's friend, and I do not intend to be close friends with her anyways. as I have my own friends. I also insisted to her that Amanda was not inappropriate in any way during the night and maintained proper boundaries. So this incident should not affect her friendship with Amanda. In fact, if Amanda had any bad intentions, she knew my wife was out for the rest of the week and would have tried to message me again. But she forgot about the evening, and so should we. Overall, my wife seems to be back to normal after the conversation. My wife is not an insecure person. I could see why she would be annoyed by the situation. However, I know in my heart that I will never disrespect our marriage, and I had no reason to be sneaky or lie about the situation to her. I'm glad we talked it through and I was able to answer all her questions. Thanks again for all your suggestions.